I felt the rust in there. I like to be an active fighter. As long as I'm healthy, I like to fight. So with this fight, it was stretched out for so long. I didn't know when I was going to fight. So, I felt a little bit rusty in there. But, as long as I stay active, I got some ring time in right now. And, he's a tough opponent. So, I feel like it's coming back. I just got to stay active.
What? Oh, it doesn't fit. Just kidding.
Let's talk about the obvious question right now. The tournament. Roy McDonald suffered some bumps, bruises, and injuries during his fight with Musasi.
Mm-hmm.
When do you hope to get the call of either, hey, you're going to be fighting John Fitch, or hey, we have an idea of maybe when you're fighting? Do you hope to get this answer like before Christmas, after Christmas? What's the timetable you're hoping for?
As long as I'm active. The whole thing about this tournament, just so to clear it up, I was never approached to be an alternate. I was approached to be in the tournament. And I decided to be an alternate because the time that I would have fought in the tournament would have been way too long. It would have been the longest layoff of my career. And so what we came up with was I'll fight earlier and it'll be for an alternate spot in the tournament. So that's how that whole thing came about. I was originally approached to be in the tournament, so as long as it's soon. I'm healthy, I want to get back in there, stay training. The longer I have a layoff, the longer I start eating fast food, weight gets, you know what I mean? So as long as I just want to stay consistent.
Lorenz, congrats on the win. How tight was that heel hook there?
That's the thing. It's I love playing with footlocks. I'm playing with footlocks with big old heavyweight over here. You know what I mean? So it wasn't tight at all. I felt, if you can go back and look at my facial expression, I felt super comfortable. That was a position out of the whole fight. That was probably the most comfortable position that I felt the most comfortable in.
I know you said you want to get in, not sit too long. Eric Silva tweeted after the fight. He said, "Okay, you beat my substitute. Things are going to be different against me." Is that a fight you still want to pursue? And do you have any response to him?
My first thought is the tournament. At the end of the day, every time, and this is public knowledge, every time I sign a contract, I show up. Win or lose, I show up. Anybody who knows my career has never thought that I was not going to show up to the fight. I train smart. I have some of the best coaches in the game. I train hard, and I train smart, and I come in the fight. If you had a good camp, there's no way you come in 100% into a fight. It's period. Nobody does. So, I have bumps and bruises and things like that, and things that I come into the fight with, but that's just, I'm a fighter, man. I sign a contract, I show up on the date, and I perform, period. So before he starts talking, tell him to show up to a fight when he signs a contract, and then we can go from there.
When you made that decision to be an alternate rather than to enter the tournament, how did you sort of weigh, the activity seems like it was more important to you, how did you weigh that against the possibility of fighting for the belt?
Well, my thing is the layoff. The longest layoff I've ever had was, I think it was like 11 months. And that was my transition from Strikeforce to UFC. And that was one of the worst things in my whole career. It was too long of a layoff. So this is something that I did not want to repeat, and I want to stay active. That's the whole point. I don't want to fight 1 time, 2 times a year. I really want to be active. So those were my big decisions that made this happen. It's big layoff or be in the tournament, or be in the tournament and have a big layoff, or fight sooner, and the fight sooner weighed a lot more for me.
Did you come out of this one pretty healthy?
No, I'm good.
Lorenz, Keith Chen, the MMA Takeover. Congratulations on the victory.
Thank you.
How hard was it to prepare for 3 different opponents, in this training camp?
At the end of the day, my team, is very confident with how I could adapt to different guys. And the good thing is for me is, as you guys can see, I can fight orthodox and I can fight southpaw. It's not that big of a change for me. So, you know, but in combat sports, period, that's a big change from orthodox to fighting a guy who's orthodox and fighting a guy who's unorthodox or southpaw, you know. So with me, it's not that big of a deal because I can fight both, you know, and I can do it comfortably. So, you know, it's just more video, a little tweaks, and keep at it. You know, my main thing is as long as I have a good camp. As long as I have a good camp, I'm not really worried about the opponent.
You're the next guy up. You go in the tournament with 7 guys that you could possibly face. You got to kind of throw yourself right back into training camp if you get a call at any time for any match. How do you prepare for 7 possibilities?
Just make sure I have a healthy camp. As long as my condition is good, my coaches are working with me, working on technique and things like that, I feel like with anybody I can always adapt in there. And that's one of those things that came over time, you know, came with time and just being in the cage and being with different high-level, you know, opponents, you know. So as long as I have a good camp, I can adapt in there, and I can take direction from my coaches and apply it.
Lima and Douglas Lima and Paul Daly both have wins on you. They're still in the tournament. There's a bunch of other guys. If you have a preference, you could, you know, if you get a perfect opponent, you get to pick any of one of these 7s. You have a preference?
I don't, as long as it's in the final.
Lorenz, when you were on your way out to the UFC, you were talking about being able to feel appreciated, promoted properly, and everything. Your 4 fights of your Bellator career now, how do you assess how you've been treated and, you know, how the experience has been so far?
My experience is good. You know, I don't have any complaints. Everything is on a personal level, you know, with the whole Bellator staff. You know, nothing is like, you know, where I don't have a personal connection with all the people I work with in Bellator. And that's the thing with me, you know, it's I'm loyal to you as much as you're loyal to me. You know, I can be diehard loyal, and Bellator's my home. You know, I love it here. Everything is fair. You know, I'm not asking for nothing crazy, and everything is assessed fairness. You know what I mean? And that's what it's all about. You know, as long as I feel like I'm getting treated with respect and fair on both sides. You know, because you know us as fighters, we always I want it for me. You know, it's kind of a selfish sport, but I always look at things both ways, from my side and the other side. And you know, they've been fair to me since I've been here. All right, thanks guys.